Wheels on wheels on wheels. That's what we're playing tonight. Orcish Wheels. That's what I'm calling it. A brand new card from Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. I'm talking about Orcish Bowmasters. If you've been sleeping underneath a rock, this is a 2 mana, 1 and a black for a 1/1 Orc Archer with Flash. Whenever this card enters the battlefield or whenever an opponent draws a card, you get to deal 1 damage to target player and amass 1 Orc. So if your opponent casts Brainstorm, you flash this in response, they take 4 and you get a 4/4 creature. That's pretty good. And how do we abuse this? Well, I think that it goes really well with Sheoldred the Apocalypse, a 4 mana card where your opponent loses 2 life whenever they draw a card. Okay, so this card is not anything new, that being Sheoldred. How do we abuse that? I think in the classic Echo of Aeons shell with Entomb and Gamble, and then a older card that is seeing more play nowadays, Runehorn Hellkite. This one you might not be familiar with. It's a 6 mana dragon for a 5/5 flyer. Irrelevant. Well, you can exile it from a graveyard for 6 mana. Each player discards their hand and draws 7. This is uncounterable. It's an ability. So your opponent can have triple forcible in hand. Doesn't matter. Runehorn Hellkite, uncounterable. So today we're playing a bunch of gold lands between Mana Confluence and Spire of Industry alongside 20 0-mana artifacts, Chrome Mox, Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, and Urza's Bauble. No Mishra's Bauble. So without fetch lands in our deck, there's no sculpting for Mishra's Bauble, so the information from Urza's Bauble is just better in my opinion, so we're playing that today. So we have Dark Ritual to accelerate into our Orcish Bowmasters or Sheoldred. We have Entomb to put Echo of Aeons in the graveyard, Gamble to put Echo of Aeons, or we could find Lion's Eye Diamond with this Gamble. Okay. Defense Grid for protection, Orcish Bowmasters and Sheoldred are our win conditions, and then 8 wheels. This deck is quad laser. It's literally all 4 ofs, and then a 3 of Echoing Truth in the sideboard to deal with Chalice of the Void. We also have Leyline of the Void for Reanimator and other graveyard decks, Leyline of Sanctity to protect us from Reanimator, Silence for other combo decks, and Control. It's pretty simple. I think that this is going to be a ton of fun. I don't know how good this is. This is sort of just a list I came up with. I did try Winds of Change, and it was terrible. So choosing not to play Winds of Change today, just going down a card every time you cast a Winds of Change was just not what we wanted. So not playing that. Instead, we're playing the full 4 playset of Runehorn Hellkite. That's my intro. Hopefully you enjoy it, and I hope you love watching this Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth video with Orcish Bowmasters. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicsforum.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicsforum.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Alright, so we're just started match number 1. My apologies. So we mulliganed to 4. Our opponent revealed a Yorion, and they played a Tron Scrubland. I kept a hand that was Mana Confluence, Defense Grid, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Entomb. And I bottomed a Gamble and kept the Entomb, and in it I said, but it wasn't recording, I'm going to keep this in case I draw Dark Ritual, because Dark Ritual would allow me a turn 1 Defense Grid if they're on a blue deck. Well, I ripped the Dark Ritual like a genius, but not like a genius. I didn't hit record. I'm a dummy. So the Echo of Aeons is in our graveyard, and we are now resolving Entomb. Okay, so here we have a Gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond, so let's go do that. Gamble, go grab that Diamond. And Red Entomb, it's what I always call it, unfortunate. So we'll play out the Bauble. Pass. No, let's just do it now in case they have a Bowmaster. Wasteland. Okay. So we'll draw off the Bauble. Another Sheoldred. Wasteland on our Mana Confluence. Sure thing. And they pass the turn. So we have 2 mana sources in play. And now an Orcish Bowmasters. I think we're supposed to just pass here. So you might be saying, why not imprint? I could theoretically naturally discard this Echo. And that might be the game plan here. It looks like they're on black-white taxes. They grab a Cauldron, draw for turn. Entomb doesn't help us. Actually, it does give me Echo next turn. Alright, so do I play? I guess we just Entomb? Grab the Echo, pass the turn. Like, I can't flashback Echo if I play the Orc there. So it's a little awkward. They have Marshflats for land number 3. What is this? Flicker Wisp. So they can exile my Chrome Mox. Looks like that's what they're going to do here. Okay, so we'll take 1. Comes back. We'll imprint Sheoldred. Draw for turn. Well, that was a good one. So Dark Ritual. Orcish Bowmasters. We will deal 1 to Flicker Wisp. Actually, we'll deal 1 to them. Auto yield. And now we can flash back the Echo. We have 2 more Echoes in our deck and then 4 of the Dragon. This is another Echo. We're going to save targets. I'll let them. We're going to amass a huge Orc. Player Mana Confluence. Diamond. Actually, I wonder if we should get the Dragon here. I don't have strong opinions. We'll keep the Opal. Dark Ritual. Entomb. So the problem with getting the Dragon is we'd have 3 mana left over where I have roughly infinite mana if I get the Echo. So now I will play Chrome Mox, no imprint. Blue, red, flashback the Echo. We get 7 more triggers, putting our opponent down to 4. Lion's Eye Diamond. And our opponent concedes. Okay, that was sweet. So we're facing some sort of Death and Taxes deck. Oh, it looks like my sidebar moved. Whoops, let me fix that. I am just messing up this video. First, I don't hit record, and then my sidebar is in the wrong spot. But I guess the one upside is this isn't actually a Storm deck, so no Storm count was hidden. We probably want Echoing Truth. Defense Grid, I think, still has some value because Mindbreak Trap and Surgical Extraction and stuff like that. And then maybe we board out 1 Urza's Bauble. Let's try this. This is a turn 1 Sheoldred. I think I'm down with that. Prismatic Vista. Deafening Silence. A little annoying. Play a Chrome Mox. We'll burn a Sheoldred. Pass the turn. They play a Vial. So next turn I can go Dark Ritual Sheoldred. Dark Ritual. Yeah, nice Deafening Silence. What are you doing? Okay. Let's see if Sheoldred can get the job done. Swords! No! That's brutal. Okay, so that's a bummer. But I can grab an Echo at some point. We'll pass the turn. Mother of Ruins. I'm going to flash in an Orc and kill the mom. Alright. Another Vial, Caracas. So they could have Thalia now off this. We hit the Echoing Truth. That was good. So on their end step, we can Echoing Truth the Deafening Silence into Entomb Echo. We'll send 1. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. No Aether Vial activation. So now there's no Vial on 2, which means no instant speed Spirit of the Labyrinth or anything like that. Wasteland here is actually pretty devastating. They put Yori into hand. That's weird. Do you have a Mindbreak Trap? Is that what this is about? Well, Echoing Truth, the Deafening Silence. Oh, do you have a Flicker Wisp? Oh, Plague Engineer. That's a good one. Okay. And then we'll Entomb. So I see why they're black-white taxes now. We'll just put the Echo to the graveyard, and now we need to untap an Echo. So I have a 50-50 shot here on having Lion's Eye Diamond available. Is that worth the risk? Because if I miss, they replay the Deafening Silence. I'm going to go ahead and say no. It's not worth the possible risk. This line also avoids Mindbreak Trap. So we will spin the wheel. This doesn't do anything? I mean, I can play out some artifacts and pass the turn. Let's bobble them. Surgical. Prismatic Vista. I think I want the Opal in play. It might be wrong, but it's what I'm going to do here. So we have 2 Sheoldred. I thought I had 2 exiled. I guess it's just the 1. So we have 3 Sheoldred left. And then theoretically we could answer the Plague Engineer and then Orc. That's another option. And step Mother of Ruins. Okay. A little bit annoying. I'll draw my 2 cards off Bobble. Diamond isn't bad. Our opponent getting to be on the play this game was so huge for them. Ooh, and now they have Recruiter of the Guard for Thalia. Interesting. They grabbed Lorna the Third Path instead. And they're going to go after Chromox. I think that's fine. Sure. They swing for 2. We know that they have Surgical. Another Entomb. And they Surgical my Chromox. Okay. That's fine with me. I'm wondering why they got Lorna the Third Path if they don't have some creature that isn't going to crush me off the vial. But I don't have a real choice. Like, I could have tried to end up Echoing Truth the vial, I guess, and then they would main phase. They would just put the creature in response anyway, and then I can't answer it with the Mother of Ruins. So it doesn't ultimately matter that much. We'll Entomb. Grab Echo, add 3 blue. Spin that wheel. Wow, that just happened. Okay. So we gained 0 mana off that wheel. Actual 0. It's not great. So we'll play a Lion's Eye Diamond. Cast Entomb. Echo. And we'll spin again. Spin, spin. Surgical on Sheoldred. Okay. So we're probably not winning now. Like, theoretically, you can beat the Plague Engineer. It's just, like, not likely. Yeah, I'm good to go to the next game. So, with this hand here, you could try to set up an end step Echoing Truth, untap, bounce. But they have a vial. Like, they have multiple vials in play, and you're fighting through the Mother of Ruins. I think you're just better off just trying to win game 3. I could bring in more copies of Defense Grid for Surgicals and Mind Breaks. The problem is, like, what are you boarding out? And I think what you're boarding out is, like, more copies of Urza's Baubles, which might be okay. Sure, let's try this, I guess. Game 3 on the play versus Black-White Taxes. So we have Gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond plus Echo. Sure. Ouch. Gamble. Grab the diamond. We discard the Runehorn Hellkite. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Mox Opal. And we'll add 3 blue. Spin, spin. This was a complete dud. Pass. That was just stinky. The only upside here is that we have forced mulliganed our opponent, and hopefully they have a hand that doesn't do a whole lot. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize means that they probably don't have Mind Break. They take the Entomb. Alright, so we're looking to gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond again. We draw another Mox Opal, useless. Okay. Grab a diamond. Unfortunately, it does not give us Metalcraft. And there's no point of playing stuff out for Storm in this deck. Flashback. Here we go. Alright, so Lion's Eye Diamond. Lion's Eye Diamond. Tap for a white. Play a Mox Opal. Keep this new one. I'm going to play Defense Grid. I realize that I don't have to, but I'd rather not get Surgicaled. And now we'll flash back another Echo. Floating 3 mana. I've used 3 Echoes, which means I have 1 more left in the deck. Or I can... No, I can't Entomb a Dragon. That doesn't work. We'll imprint a Dragon. Get the black from Opal. Dark Ritual. Entomb. Go get the last Echo. Spin the wheel on Echo of Aeons. So we have no more Echoes in our deck. And I'm 1 mana short of playing Sheoldred. Ah, jeez. Play a Bauble, I guess. I could Entomb for a Dragon here, though. I think that's actually the line. So we'll Entomb. Go get a Dragon. Black. Red. Black. Alright, so now we have a bunch of mana, and we hit Sheoldred. The problem is, we drew into a bunch of lands. We'll Bauble them. Solitude. So they have the answer to Sheoldred in hand. That's unfortunate. We'll pass the turn. Draw a card off Bobble. We fizzled pretty hard there. Gamble gets us another dragon. Or another Sheoldred. Orcish Bowmasters. Draw. Gamble. I think we just go for another Sheoldred. Play a Mana Confluence and we'll take 3 here. I could have burned a Opal to save 1 life, but I don't think 1 life is worth burning a resource. And they have swords. Okay. That hurts. We're all out of Echo of Aeons. Okay, pass the turn. Actually, maybe I'm supposed to play Lotus Petal. Because if they play a Thalia or something, I think I want the Petal in play. They attack for 2. And there's Thalia. We will pass the turn. On their turn, I can flash an Orcish Bowmasters, kill the Thalia, and then my Orc can block their Bowmasters. They Thoughtseize, so that actually ruins that plan. But I can still flash in an Orc. It does cost me a little bit of extra life. We will kill the Thalia. Okay. Draw for turn. And we found Echoing Truth. I don't think I want to play that yet. So we will pass the turn here. Lauren of the Third Path. Okay. Defense grid down. Draw for turn. We get another Bowmaster. Bowmaster Dominance. Kill their Lauren. Swing for 2. So Echoing Truth is kind of weird because what it says is all creatures that share a name. So it would also bounce their Orcish Bowmasters. One has 2 cards in hand. Trying to think. So if I bounce my Bowmasters, they get theirs back. I can play 1 to kill their Mother Runes. And then if they Bowmaster my Orc, I can play an Orc to kill theirs. And in the meantime, I'm getting a 4/4. I think that's the line. Play an Opal. I'm going to choose to play out Opals at this point to save a little bit on life. Bowmaster their mom. And we'll swing for 3. If they chump block, they can get another Orc. Alright, so they're at 9 and I have a 3/3 Orc army. They're going to try to kill my Bowmasters. We'll tap for a colorless and then flash in ours. And we'll kill theirs. I misspoke. I said Orc army. I meant Orcish Bowmasters. Yeah, we can play the fair game. They put Yori into hand. Fine by me. Another land. We only have 8 lands in the deck. So this will put them to 5. Pass the turn. They play a Vial with 4 cards in hand. Another Bowmasters would win here. Draw. Chromox. Okay. So we'll attempt to put them to 1. They're at 1. What are you holding in hand? 5 cards. They have to do something. Stoneforge Mystic. They grab a Cauldra. I have 2 Bowmasters that would win the game in I don't know how many Sheoldred. 1 Sheoldred. I'd also take a Runehorn Hellkite at this point. Bummer. Swing 4. Pass the turn. Caracas. I'm not allowed to swing my army in because then Cauldra will kill it. And if they have a... So you might be saying they're at 1, I could swing out. If they have any 2 mana value creature, I'm just dead. So I think that's kind of a misplay. I'm going to choose to pass here. So Cauldra enters. They did not vial in a creature. So that might have been a spot where I was able to win. Who knows? And they're attacking for 5. So I will go to 10. If they have a 5th land into Yorion, this play makes sense. If they don't, they're sitting on a trick. Okay, so there's the Yorion. So I have 2 Orcish Bowmasters, 2 copies of Echoing Truth, a Sheoldred. We have outs. I just need to draw cards that don't make mana for once. Okay, come on, deck, please. 23 cards in deck. Pass the turn. They do have 10 damage on board, but I have some blockers. They left Vial on 3, so they have something. So now they're going to put me to 5 with the Germ. I think we allow that to happen. This is probably my last draw step here. Come on, deck. Pretty please. Draw. This looks like a surgical on Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. So, not ideal. So now we have 1 Sheoldred, 2 Echoing Truth, 3 Gamble. So that's 6 hits out of 21 cards that I can think of off the top of my head. We have 3 Entomb, that's 9 hits. Because Entomb can get a Runehorn Hellkite. So 9 out of 21, we're near 50%. Draw. Can't catch a break. I have to pass. Okay. So I have to throw something in front of the Germ. Oh, I'm actually dead on board. Yeah. So no matter what I do, I'm dead here. The Germ tramples. So this is going to trample over for 1 and I'll take lethal. That's very frustrating. We just drew nothing for the last handful of turns. Probably longer than that. Draw a card. Well, I guess we didn't have anything coming either. So, unfortunate. We lost match number 1. Our deck sort of fizzled out. That happens sometimes in Magic. No need to fret. I'm sure we'll get match number 2, and I will see you there. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Let's try to get this one on the play for match number 2. Alright, so we have an Echo and some defense grids. I don't know what our opponent's playing. I think we can mulligan. I believe our deck can do better. This hand is pretty interesting. So we have turn 1 Dark Ritual, defense grid, and Tomb. Keep, and we'll bottom an extra Entomb. So the gamble could give us turn 2 Lion's Eye Diamond, Dark Ritual, defense grid, Entomb. Go grab Echo. So on turn 2, we will have a 66% chance to keep Lion's Eye Diamond. Turn 1 Scalding Tarn, Underground Sea, Thoughtseize. Brutal. Leave me with Chromox. Draw. Unfortunately, Dark Ritual does not do it here. We'll pass. Any card that imprints for a black would do it on the following turn. Preordain. Preordain's not usually a card that sees play in Doomsday anymore, so this might be like Blue-Black Omni. Alright, so now we can flashback the Echo. Imprint that Entomb, Dark Ritual. Add a blue. Echo of Aeons. Floating 1 black mana. Okay, we'll play Aspire. Orcish Bowmasters. Save targets at them. Auto yield to the trigger. Lion's Eye Diamond. Add 3 blue. Spin that wheel. No mana floating. And this hand is not going to get the job done, but we have amassed an 8/8 Orc army token. We'll pass the turn. They play Scalding Tarn down to 7 life. For a Badlands. Is this Ant? Oh, it's Grixis control. I didn't... I had hit the 0 key. So I lost my Ursus Bobble because I was just going to use the trigger on the end step. That actually is a little bit sad. Alright, so we will attack them for 1. And I'm just going to play a second copy of Bowmaster. Okay. We're still in this for now. Our opponent's at 5 life. 1 more mana gives us a Sheoldred. Fable. Well, I guess they don't have to draw. It's you may discard. Opal is not active at the moment. I believe we're supposed to pass here. So their Saga flips, and they're passing the turn. 4 open mana, so they can play a counterspell through defense grid. Narset. Okay. They find a Sheoldred's Edict. They go to 4 life. 3 life. So if they Edict me, I can just sacrifice the Orc token. A non-token creature. Okay. I guess I do lose a Bowmaster. Artifact or land. That'll do, Peg. Lion's Eye Diamond. Mox Opal. We'll tap this for a black. These can be colorless. Sheoldred. Pass the turn. Oh, I just missed lethal. I could have discarded my hand to Runehorn Hellkite and killed them with Bowmasters. I mean, we're likely still in the winning spot this turn, but there's a chance our opponent does something here and I lose the game. I missed lethal. So if we lose this, it's my own fault. I was so tunnel visioned on Sheoldred. And they concede. Sweet. My misplay did not bite me in the butt. I think we want silence here. Let's get rid of Urza's Baubles. Hit that submit. Game number 2 versus Grixis Control. I know that we don't have a Lion's Eye Diamond, but I'm going to keep this. And the real reason why is just having double defense grid I think is going to go a pretty long way against a control deck. Draw for turn. Silence. Okay. We can just pass the turn. I don't need to Dark Ritual out of defense grid. That's not something I'm super interested in doing. Also, who knows? Maybe this will be the game that I hardcast Runehorn Hellkite. Well, that's just not nice. Who raised you that way? Come on. Defense grid. We'll pass. They fetch with Polluted Delta. Correct. Or, I'm sorry, Plague Engineer. This card is back. Naming Orc is just so good. Gamble. Dark Ritual. The Queen. Sheoldred. Ah, they had the Edict. That's brutal. I think we probably lose this game now. And their own Bowman. Okay, we can go to game 3. I get it. You've won. You don't need to kick me when I'm down. Brutal. Do I bring in the Echoing Truth specifically for their Null Rod? I kind of want to. Maybe we'll shave 2 Runehorn Hellkites. Let's try this. Game 3. 4 of the marbles. This is a hand that's all in on Echo Lion's Eye Diamond with no other mana sources. I'm going to ship it. This is not bad. Here I think you're supposed to bottom the Echo of Eons. Keep. Echo goes on the bottom. Alright, Mana Confluence past the turn. Underground Sea. Dark Ritual. Okay, that's a pretty interesting one. We'll play Spire of Industry and pass. So I can silence off Mana Confluence. I guess I need an artifact to be able to then go Dark Ritual and Tomb Echo. So do I want to risk drawing the artifact for a turn 3 protected Echo? I think I'm just going to wait. Draw. We'll pass the turn. Echoing Truth was an interesting draw here. For something like Narset or Null Rod. And they're just keeping up their mana. So we'll just keep playing Draw Go. This was a good one. Silence? Let's see if this happens. Orcish Bowmasters. Silence. So that did resolve. But I think we're just going to play Defense Grid and pass the turn. A little surprising they kept a hand that was just Orcish Bowmasters. Cling to Dust on my Silence, sure. They have 3 cards in hand, so they could have a Force of Will still. They search and Null Rod. It's annoying. Yep. Draw. We'll tap for black. We just have to answer one thing at a time, so we will Bowmasters. Hit their Bowmasters. I could main phase the Entomb here, but I don't think that's necessary, so I'm going to pass. They have Fatal Push. 3 cards in hand. Yeah, I mean, I'll make this trade. That's fine. 3 cards. Silent. So, hypothetically, start off on silence. Dark Ritual Echoing Truth leaves me with 2 mana, and Tomb for Echo brings me down to 1, but then I have a Lotus Petal, so I'm 1 mana short. I have to just pass the turn. They have 4 cards and they pass back. Another defense grid, that's huge. And they're going to Force of Will. Okay. Exiling another copy of Force of Will. Plague Engineer. So they're giving me a window to win here. Because they no longer have defense grid protection. I could just play Sheoldred, but I feel like they're likely to have removal. Dark Ritual. Let's bounce that Null Rod. Lotus Petal. Entomb, and we'll go grab an Echo. Ouch. This brings me down to 10. And now we'll draw 7. Mana? That wasn't very good. Alright, we have to pass. I guess Entomb is our best draw at this point. We have 4 of them in the deck. I think we're seeing the problem with an Echo of Aeon base Storm deck right now, where you can just draw 7 over and over, but ultimately you're sort of at the mercy of your own deck. Where when you play things like Peer into the Abyss or Ad Nauseam or Past in Flames, you have support where you can eliminate some of the randomness sometimes. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. Interesting. So they're fetching down to 15 to have 6 mana. Preordain. Preordain on the stack. Meltdown for 2. Okay. I mean, I have double silence. That's not the end of the world. But we don't have anything to do with all of our cards. Also, what are the odds I face Plague Engineer twice? I mean, it is a card that I think is good right now. We talked about it on the latest episode of the Eternal Glory podcast. But it's just not a card that's seen a lot of play up until this week, apparently. Seeing it twice in 2 matches. So this is me falling to 6 life. I may have 6 cards in hand. We need to draw something soon. We'll play Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. Opponent gets in. We go to 4. Draw? Nope. Pass. I mean, they have to have me dead here, right? Like a Snapcaster, a Lightning Bolt. You have to have something. The Engineer beats in. We go to 2 life. Narset's going to get the job done. I don't think we can actually win with that card on the table. They cast a Ponder, but none of this is relevant. We are already dead. Alright. They're just wasting time at this point. I'm going to concede. 0-2. Not the start we imagined. Kind of a bummer. I am remembering why I don't play 4 Echo of Aeon stacks at the moment, but let's see if we can win the next 3. I mean, I'm really interested to see how far we can get out of Orcish Bowmasters. Is it good enough for Legacy Storm? That's ultimately the question. So I will see you in match number 3. Let's see if we can turn this around. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. We're back for match number 3 on the play. This is a turn 1 Gamble Echo. I think we're going to play Defense Grid first and just accept that this is a turn 2 hand. Spire of Industry, Lotus Petal. Actually, I should bobble them for information, and then I'll know if I need to play from the loam. Alright, so 25% failure rate here. Not today. Alright, spin that wheel! Okay. I like it when we wheel with a bunch of mana floating. That is good. Alright, new challenge. We actually get to turn 1 Orcish Bowmaster wheel win. I know it's crazy, I'm probably asking for too much, but I would like to do that. So deck, let's just make that happen. We have 6 mana floating. Alright, so here I'm supposed to flashback a dragon, I think. Or do I just make even more mana? It's basically the same thing. Like, basically, this is just a discard draw. Or would I rather go up on mana? I think up on mana? I'm not sure. Okay, so blue... Actually, hold on. Undo. Black. Blue. Okay, so another thing I could do is dragon, and then if the dragon fails, echo. But I think, like, I want the diamonds in the deck. I don't have strong opinions, but I'm going to do this. Alright, so I don't have another wheel. And I have no way of getting this dragon to my graveyard. Dark Ritual. We'll play a Sheoldred. Mox Opal. I have 6 mana, so I can actually hardcast the dragon. But we saw a Life from Loam, so if they Maze of Ith it, I'm going to feel like a real dummy. So we'll play Defense Grid, Bowmasters, at them, Bowmasters. We'll pass the turn. So I get 1 trigger here, and it's an Entomb. So I might be able to Echo on our following turn. I mean, that was not a bad turn 1. Besage you, so crop rotation into Tabernacle, something we have to think about. And there's the crop rotation. Baracus. So they want to pick up my Sheoldred. Sure. I'm fine with that. We'll bobble them. Punishing Fire. Mox Diamond. Discards Ancient Tomb. Should I use the bobble here? How likely are we to draw a replacement artifact? I think pretty high. So I'm going to choose... because I want to draw 3 cards here. And we did hit the replacement artifact. So I'm pretty sure Echo just kills our opponent here. Entomb. The 4th and final Echo of Aeons. Spin, spin, spin. Deal 14. They're at 2. And we only have a 16/16 orc to show for it. Unfortunate. But we've gotten game number 1 from lands. Let's try to win another. Probably want these Echoing Truths. Let's board down. Oh, I'm willing to board out 1 Defense Grid. We'll board out 1 Dragon and 1 Sheoldred. Hit submit. Like, you could just board out all 4 Defense Grids, but they have things like Surgicals or Mindbreak Trap, Force of Vigor that you have to respect. In theory, I could board in Silence instead. It's more resource efficient. I didn't even think about that in the previous matchups. Yeah, let's do 3 Silence. Also, they board in Pyroblast. Actually, board out a Bobble. Yeah, let's try this. Game 2, I will keep an aggressive mulligan to 5 from our opponent. Turn 1 Taiga into crop rotation. Okay, so they're on 5 cards. Ancient Tomb and then Sphere. Yep. I mean, it's a good start. Chrome Mox. So we'll play the Spire of Industry. We'll play out Chrome Mox, imprint an Orcish Bowmaster, and then play Mox Opal. Pass the turn. Urza's Saga. Okay. Soul Guide Lantern. You've got it. So that means that they currently do not have Force of Vigor. We'll take a draw. Another Bowmaster. Lion's Eye Diamond. This gives us Metalcraft, so now we can cast a 3-mana spell. And with Sphere of Resistance, Orcish Bowmasters cost 1 more. So on their end step, we'll flash in an Orc, and we'll then untap and attempt to Echo of Aeons. Urza's Saga goes up. Wasteland. That's a little bit annoying here. Okay, so we are pressured into casting an Orc right now. Our land will be destroyed. They have 1 card. Draw. Entomb. Echo of Aeons. 3 blue. Flash back and we'll pay the extra because of the Sphere Resistance. So we're not able to combo win this turn, but we do get an 8/8 Orc army. The opponent concedes and we've got our first match win. Alright, so that was sweet. They didn't have to concede. They could have made a Saga construct in order to block, but I'll take it. We are now 1-2 with 2 matches left. you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Alright, match number 4, we're on the play. Let's go get a win. Our opponent says that they love our videos. That's awfully kind of them. They're about to be in one. Alright, our opponent has 6 cards. Spire of Industry. From Mox. We will imprint a Runehorn Hellkite. Lion's Eye Diamond. Ouch. Entomb. This is actually an error in hindsight, because if they endurance me here, I'm going to feel really dumb. And because of that, I should have played out the Chrome Mox. That's a punt. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to move on. We have resolved an Echo. I do not have enough mana here to Echo again. So I'm going to play out a couple Baubles. And an Opal. Like I said, Storm Count doesn't really matter. And then we'll pass the turn. They're going to discard. Bobble them. Undercity. They're on Oops! Uh-oh. Entomb? Grab an Echo. Let's bobble again. And there's a Spy. We're in trouble. Alright, so we're going to draw 3 cards here. I mean, do I risk playing Sheoldred? I mean, they didn't have the win on their last turn. Right? So I could also just, like, Orc into Echo right now. I think I'm going to play Sheoldred. Please don't draw the card that kills me, please. Pretty please don't do it. Looks like they're passing. Things that I like. I could have played the Bowmaster end step there, but I'll be honest. I just, like, hit 2 and it skipped through their turn. But our Echo should be enough to get the job done here. And I can always main phase the Orc too. And this is actually just lethal. Save targets at them. Blue and Echo for lethal. Triggers! Love it. Auto yield. Oh no. Do I have to click all of these? That's so obnoxious. Come on. Magic Online, you're better than this. Okay, so now the abilities will all resolve. They will lose roughly 1,000,000 life. Okay, so now we go to game number 2. We have Leyline of the Void. That is definitely a card we want here. We also want Silence. Both of those are very good in this matchup. Board out the defense grid. I do think Runehorn Hellkite isn't very good in this matchup, but it's better than nothing. I think Echoing Truth could be used as interaction. Like, you bounce all the Narcomoebas when they go to mill their deck. Does that even work? They can just target... No, that doesn't work. Not the way I want it to. So, Baubles are slow, but they turn on Metalcraft. You could board in Leyline of Sanctity because their lists often play for Thoughtseize. Maybe that's fine. Their lists do play Leylines in the board. And one Echoing Truth could be good against Leylines. Maybe I'm supposed to just keep 4 Hellkite. And try this. Alright. Let's go. Alright, so we've opened up a hand that doesn't do anything. We're going to send it back. Ideally, we would have a Leyline. I mean, this hand is good, but do we get a turn? Our opponent's mulliganing to 5 right now. I think we just have to keep a hand that has Leyline in it. Now we're going to 4. I mean, the perfect 4-card hand is a turn 1 Echo that has Leyline in it, so it exists. This just isn't it. Okay, so... I mean, this is a Lion's Eye Diamond away. Alright, so they're up a card on us. We're capable of beating Leyline of the Void. I'm sure they are too, but it's going to be a little bit tougher. And we hit the gamble for what would have been a turn 1 Echo. That's brutal. Okay. Their plan might be to beat us down. And they're much closer to their beatdown plan than we are. I do not have Sheoldred or a Dark Ritual. There's a diamond. I mean, I guess I should have brought in the Echoing Truth. I wasn't thinking about their own copies of Leyline of the Void. I was thinking about Leyline of Sanctity, but not Leyline of the Void. Now they have a beater. Okay, we're a little bit closer to our own Sheoldred. So if I think I'm supposed to gamble for the Sheoldred, because if I draw a land next turn, I could theoretically hardcast it. Alright, now we're a land away. Or another Dark Ritual. Is this a Force of Vigor? Wow. Okay, they got me. Baited. Okay. That was brutal. If I didn't do anything, we would have had them there. We'll bring in the Echoing Truths. Board out 2 dragons. And a Bowmaster. I don't feel strongly about which one. I mean, Bowmaster is easier to cast. Let's try this. On the play. So we have Leyline, but I don't have Silence to interact with them. This is Leyline into turn 2 Echo. I think I just have to keep that. Okay. Spire of Industry. And then we'll pass the turn. Untapped Agademe. So if this is a Thoughtseize on our Sheoldred, that's going to hurt. Dark Ritual. 3 mana. Foundation Breaker. Okay. I mean, that's not good for me. They have 3 cards in hand. Draw. I mean, I can play Sheoldred here and hope to win before they can. That's about the best I can offer. Do their 3 cards in hand kill me? I mean, my best draw at this point is Silence. That is not a Silence. We'll attack. They're at 11. Pass the turn. So now they go down to 9. Come on, deck. Please give me Silence. Nope. Casting Entomb does not help us with a Leyline of the Void on the table. Swing. So if they don't block here, an untapped land would be bad for them. They have 5 cards in hand. I mean, they must have been close. They kept the hand. So next turn, Sheoldred plus their draw brings them to 1. An Orcish Bowmaster would win the game here. There we go. Swing. And you want to play the Bowmaster now because they're a Pact of Negation deck. If you wait until their upkeep to cast this, Pact of Negation might actually win them the game. And now they're dead to the Sheoldred. 2-2. Alright, we have one more match to get. Let's go see if we can do that. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. Match number 5. Let's try to finish this with a positive record. This hand is quite good. We will keep. Turn 1 Mountain. Goblin Lackey. Oh, in an era of Orcish Bowmasters? The audacity. Alright, so we have some things we can do here. We can gamble and then go put an Echo to the graveyard, which is probably the best line here. The question is, how do we get there? And I think you want to just imprint probably a Dark Ritual this turn and just make sure that the Lackey dies. I mean, you could also just, like, ignore the Lackey and, like, just imprint the Bowmasters, play out everything, gamble into Echo. But I don't love that line, so I'm not going to take it. Alright, so Bowmasters kills Goblin Lackey. We'll pass the turn. They play a Mountain, Chrome Mox, imprints Trashmaster and a Goblin Matron. You've got it. They grab a Krenko Mob Boss. Runehorn Hellkite. That's a fine draw here. So we're going to imprint that onto Chrome Mox. In this turn, we're just trying to empty our own hand so that way we can ensure that the Echo of Aeons ends up in the graveyard. Gamble. Grab the Echo. Let's add some blue. Spin that wheel. The first Orc will kill the Matron. And now we'll save targets all at them. Auto yield. They're at 14. Play a Chrome Mox. Imprint Sheoldred. Lines of Diamond. Bobble. Entomb. Grab another Echo. This is what we wanted to do this league. Yeah. Spin that wheel. 15-15 orc. Don't mind if I do. Alright, so 3, 4, 5. I'm 1 mana short of hard casting the Hellkite or Echo. That's pretty unfortunate. Alright, we're gonna have to settle for attacking with the 15-15. Attacking is just so 2007. Oh, geez. Okay. We have taken game number 1 over Goblins. Defense grid, Red Elemental Blast, Mind Break Trap, stuff like that. But we might want Echoing Truth. We'll board out 2 Hellkites and 1 defense grid. Maybe these should just be silence all the time. I'm not sure about the plan here. 1 works for Metalcraft, 1 doesn't. Board out 1 Bobble. Submit. This is a protected turn 1. Keep. We could even put Bowmasters into play if we choose to completely disrespect our opponent. Mountain. Chromox. They imprint a Goblin Matron and do Thorn. That's not very nice. Play out a Lotus Petal. We will pass the turn. We do have 3 copies of Echoing Truth in our deck. We have to find them, though. Ooh, Wasteland here is brutal. Goblin Pile Driver. They have 1 card in hand. Not looking good for the home team. Them being on the play with Chromox, too powerful. The Goblin Pile Driver will attack for 1. Will fall to 19. Draw for turn. Opal. I guess we can discard the Echo here. They attack. We go to 18. There's an Echoing Truth. Discard Urza's Bobble. We need lands. And unfortunately, there's only 7 of them left in our deck. So we'll take 1 here again, falling down to 17. Our opponent has 3 cards. Simian Spirit Guide. So they actually have a lot of hate. Or a lot of acceleration, I should say, to help with these turn 1 Thorns. They grabbed another Pile Driver, so we're going to be dead any second now. Alright, we'll go to game 3. So we want to open up a ultra fast hand against this opponent that has multiple ways to accelerate into turn 1 Thorn of Amethyst. We can also use Silence as a pseudo Time Walk, so that way they can't play turn 1 Thorn of Amethyst. The final game of the league, let's see if we can get a positive record. We're on the play. This doesn't do a whole lot. We're going to mulligan. Okay, so you could go turn 1 Dark Ritual, Bowmasters, and Tomb, but why is that good? And then you can't even cast a Echo on turn 2. You're 1 mana off. They've kept 7. I think I'm supposed to go to 5. We will try this. Bottom Sheoldred and a Hellkite. So we need to not discard Lion's Eye Diamond here. Gamble. Diamond. That was the best possible outcome. Lion's Eye Diamond. Spin the wheel. Okay. This is another spin turn. We're 1 mana short of the Sheoldred. Sacrifice for black and Tomb. Go grab an Echo. Flash back. Spin. We could spin again with a Bowmaster. I like that. Save targets, I'll let them. Auto yield. Add 3 blue. Flashback Echo. Mario level up sounds. Alright, Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal. Mox Opal. Tap that Opal. Play another Mox Opal. Okay, and now we have turn 1 Sheoldred as well. Bobble them. Pass the turn. Not bad. Not bad at all. Orcs versus Goblins. It truly is Lord of the Rings. Alright. So they're 10 life. They have to block the 8/8 or else they're dead. And I believe we actually have a win here without attacking. Let's start by gambling for Lion's Eye Diamond. Alright, so we'll play the Diamond. Entomb. Go grab the last Echo. Spin the wheel. Attacking is lame. Never do it. Just clicking on triggers. That'll do. Not a turn 1, but a pretty impressive turn 2. Alright, so we went 3 and 2. The best legacy podcast? That would be Eternal Glory, featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Cobal and Phil Gallagher. We're available on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. Looking at the deck list, I'll be honest, I don't know how competitive this deck list is, but it was a lot of fun. I think if you want to try this deck, where would I change cards? I don't think Winds of Change is what you want. Maybe you don't need Leyline of Sanctity in the board. I'm not sure about that one. The deck probably needs more ways to answer permanent hate. I think that's a big downside. In general, I think that the win conditions of Orcish Bowmaster and Sheoldred aren't better than Tendrils of Agony. I had to do so much more work in order to win every game. I felt like I was truly scraping by. And I think that's like one of the biggest downsides of playing a deck like this, is there's so much more work involved to win with a Sheoldred or an Orcish Bowmasters. We saw that in match number 1 versus the Black-White Taxes deck, where they had Swords to Plowshares and Solitude to just set me way back, where Tendrils of Agony would have made them flat out dead. So those are spots where, you know, if this was Infernal Tutor and Burning Wish, I'm just talking about, or Wishclaw Talisman and Burning Wish, just cards, you're more likely to win those games than you are with Sheoldred and Orcish Bowmasters. That's sort of just my opinion. You're welcome to disagree with me, but I also think that these cards, being Echo of Aeons and Runehorn Hellkite, became a lot more dangerous when Orcish Bowmasters was printed, because now your engines can get punished by a card that is only 2 mana, has flash, and it's tough to beat as a Storm deck. So decks like Riddler, for example, or the Epic Gamble that play a ton of Echoes, I think are going to not be drastically worse, but now there's another card you have to play around in order for them to be viable. And it's just another annoyance, another card that could possibly disrupt you or possibly win the opponent the game. And over time, those sort of just small cards, another card, things like that, they do add up. And that's sort of my point here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And as always, keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.